You understand women only when you come to grips with the fact that you don't understand them. And it sounds paradoxical, but it's true. You kind of have to give up on totally understanding them. However, that doesn't mean that you can't know some things about them, or at least form an opinion that's more or less true, because they are not as mysterious as we want to see. And Schopenhauer was a very profound observer and a very deep thinker. And he was right when he mentioned some attributes that women have and that makes them prone to do certain things, And it's not like he critiqued them too much. He just said that generally they tend to live more in the present moment and to succumb to their desires, which is why you shouldn't hand them to big sums of money, and that they were also not so inclined towards abstract thinking, to which is something as I adhere, which is something to which I adhere. It doesn't mean that they lack this capacity, but on a daily basis, they are more prone to preserve that link with their bodies and their nurturers, first and foremost. So they cannot allow themselves to dwell too much in the realms of abstract thought. It doesn't mean that they are incapable of it. And that's true. Another concept or relating to women is the fact that they can help you when you struggle with something. I think it's better this way. I'm more able to focus. And if you have some problems that are practical and you feel like you are floundering, it is advisable to ask them for guidance, because they are more anchored in the present moment, and they can give you some pragmatic advice that could aid you get out of the pickle. Because as a man, you can lose yourself in your imagination, and you might lose the connection with the reality, and so sometimes they can point you in the right direction, and from now on you can focus your attention, and you can act and solve the problem. Nobody says that they're bad nor inherently good. It's just that we have to get rid of this ideal image of woman that forces us to categorize it either as an angel or as a demon. They are neither of both. They are more cunning than us and can be manipulative given the fact that they lack physical power, so they have to be very subtle in the ways in which they navigate the world, and we can find proofs of this even in the Bible, in the first, so to speak, stories of humankind. It doesn't matter if you are religious or not, but these are at least among the first. And that's how it is. We have to, and as a man, we have to accept it and not view females as a way to reach nirvana and as a means to solving all their problems, because they are not. Actually, they are more liable to bring chaos into their life. It doesn't mean that's a bad thing, because too much order is boring, and you can lose the motivation, but some disorder can actually stimulate you and make you more aware of your surroundings and more alert, because women consciously or unconsciously test you, because they want you to be ready to overcome some obstacles. Of course, that differs, and after you get to know each other in a long time, you give up on these games, more or less, but still they persist, and that's their nature. They have come here to test us, which is why more often than not they push you and want to know if you are going to lose your temper in order to be sure that you'll be able to control yourself when some obstacle arise. And that more or less sums it up. We shouldn't vilify such personages as Schopenhauer for saying some truths, although in an exaggerated way. Besides, we have to understand that he had a very troublesome relationship with his mother, who has brought one of her lovers only 2 weeks after her husband killed himself, and that's not a good role model for a mother, so you shouldn't blame him too much. But you should also accept the fact that he was someone who was interested in exchanging information whereas women more often, very often, they make use of language as a means to communicate emotions. They are not totally interested in sharing knowledge. It doesn't mean that there are no exceptions, of course. You can have intellectual conversations with women, and as a rule, they are not smarter nor dumber than men, at least in my experience. But on a very large scale, they are more prone to share their feelings and their moods and their ups and downs, and in that lies their beauty, which we have to accept. And yeah, it doesn't mean that we are able to ultimately penetrate their heart, although we can their body. But we can assemble some general knowledge, and at least from my point of view, a lot of times they act mysterious just to lure you, whereas in reality there is nothing hidden. And I understand that now when I'm older, but I didn't get it when I was younger. And it made me confused, it left me confused a lot of times. Because as someone who is very honest and speaks his mind straightforwardly, I expect the same from those around me. And that's just not the case with our female counterpart, at least not when it comes to love and sexuality. That's the most tricky subject, and you have to understand that it's a game and play it. You know how they say that if you don't want to play a game or you don't realize, then it means that you are played. Of course, it sounds edgy, but there is also some grain of truth to that. As it is with every exaggeration, there is a certain degree of genuine or objective data which is over stressed or accentuated so highly that it becomes a distorted fact, although you cannot call it a lie because you also deviate from the truth. So yeah, I think I'll conclude now. I hope you are fans of Schopenhauer as I am.